Alrighty, folks, let's talk about propaganda. Now, if we are going to be talking about propaganda, the first thing we need to understand is the definition of propaganda. Now, propaganda is defined as information, especially of a bias or misleading nature, used to promote a political cause or point of view. Now, this is going to be information that is presented to individuals. The information could have some hint of truth to it, but the important thing to understand with propaganda is it's going to be very one-sided, and it's going to be used in a misleading way, and they're going to be trying to use this to achieve a certain goal in the end. That goal is going to be a political goal. Now, this can be simply to support an individual. This can also be something we could be sending something forward to make a certain event look like it's a really, really big deal so that you support a certain political ideology, different things like that. But the important thing to understand, propaganda, biased, misleading information for a political cause or point of view. Now, let's look at some examples of propaganda from World War II. First one we're going to look at is this one right here. This is an American propaganda piece. As you can see in here, it says, "Is he your child? You don't want this. Buy war bonds before it's too late." Now, a couple things I want you to point out and notice on this right through here. A lot of symbolism going on in this picture, and there's going to be a lot of symbolism going on within propaganda in general. So we're going to see that cute little blue-eyed, blonde hair American baby chilling right there. He's going to have the swastika because he's becoming a Nazi right through here. You also see the skull, which was a skull that the SS, I believe, were the ones who would be using that. Okay, that would have been their symbol. So you see that right here. Notice the capitalization, "Too late, buy war bonds." What are they trying to say here? They're trying to say that you need to buy war bonds to support the American war effort so that your child doesn't grow up and become a Nazi. You don't want this, okay? You want to protect and defend your American heritage, your American rights. You don't want fascists coming in and turning your country into what's going on in Nazi Germany. But if you don't buy war bonds, this is going to happen. It's a way of really trying to motivate individuals to go and make sure that that they're going to be buying war bonds and that they're not going to allow their child to grow up and become a Nazi. But that's not good. He is watching you. Looking at this one right here. Now, a couple things that always come out with this one. This is a German soldier right here. He is watching you. It's purposely looks a lot like Darth Vader. And the reason for that isn't that they were trying to base this off of Star Wars. Star Wars comes around about 30, 40 years later. But George Lucas, when he actually designed Darth Vader, he designed Darth Vader based off of the German military helmets. So you can see this right here. Who's watching you? The German soldiers. Okay, so you need to do something. You need to get involved in the war effort because he's watching you. It's supposed to be creepy. It's supposed to make you a little bit afraid because if you're afraid, you're going to support your government fighting against the bad guys, which we're going to see right there. Now, this one is a German propaganda piece, okay? The German student, I can't read the rest of it, but I think it's something to the point of it works for the Führer and Volk. I know Volk is like the German person. So right here we see a number of different things. We see a German young person. Okay, this is a Hitler Youth individual, the youth organization that Hitler founded, kind of like the Boy Scouts, except for with genocide and fascism. A couple things I would like to point out in this one. Number one, notice the skin and the hair of this individual in this picture. He is blonde hair. He's got to be fair skin. He's this pure Aryan race right through here. Notice he looks very strong and muscular. You can kind of see the muscles on his arms popping out, and he's standing very strong and confident behind the Nazi, or in front of the Nazi flag, waving in the wind. Okay, they're trying to make him look very masculine, very, very just like a good person that you want to be like. This is like the ideal German student. So it's kind of that motivation right through here. Now, this one's American propaganda piece material. Now, I will say that a lot of propaganda is going to take on a lot of very racial tones, and you're going to be able to see that especially when it comes to Tokyo Kid, okay? Tokyo Kid say, "Good material, waste and scrap, help to save face for Jap. Thank you." Now, a couple things I want to point out. Number one, Jap is an offensive term for a person who is Japanese. That was going to be used a lot by Americans at this time, particularly after Pearl Harbor. There is a ton of anti-Japanese sentiment going on in the United States. Now, things I want you to point out. Number one, if you look at that man's butt, you're going to see the swastika, okay? Because the Japanese and the Japanese and the Germans were going to be aligned. Right through here, if you look at Tokyo Kid, you're going to be seeing a number of things. Notice his teeth. Okay, they're trying to dehumanize him. If you dehumanize your enemy, it makes it a lot easier to fight against them and to kill them. Notice his pointy ears. These are things that would not be actually the way he actually looked. They're going to exaggerate certain features, trying to make him look as animalistic and barbarian as humanly possible. You're going to see the dagger held behind his back. Notice his dripping blood because he just killed someone. You're going to see the rising sun up on his hair, on his little hat right through there. So a number of different things. What's the goal of this one is they want you to not waste your material, okay? Don't throw your metal away, recycle, because if you recycle, it's going to help the Americans, okay? If you don't do it and you're not helping the Americans, you're helping the Japanese. So again, do this or you're going to be helping the enemy, and that man does not look good, therefore you don't want him coming to your country. Another example of this right here, keep this horror from your home. Invest 10% in war bonds, back up our battle skies. So we see right here a young American woman. We see her getting abducted by a Japanese soldier. Again, notice the teeth on that Japanese soldier, how they're pointed and fang-like. That's not exactly how he would have been looking in real life, but they're trying to dehumanize him, make him look scarier. Now, imagine if you're a young American male and this is your wife being abducted right here by this animalistic man. This is going to be motivation for you to get involved and to buy war bonds. If you're a woman and you see someone who kind of resembles you being abducted by the Japanese, you're going to be more likely to be doing that same sort of thing and be donating war bonds. We're going to see that right through here. Now, this one, I believe this one's from a German youth hostel. We're going to see a young German woman. Now, compare this to the one we saw previously with that young German male. Notice both light-skinned, blonde eyes or blonde hair, and I'm imagining the other one had blue eyes as well, but this one definitely has blue eyes. Notice she's smiling. She seems very, very happy. We see her right here in the brown coats of the German youth. We're going to see that right through there. The flowers in the background. She looks like a very happy person. So they're trying to, again, this is like the ideal German female, as we're going to be seeing right here. Also, notice the use of color in the background. We're going to see the Nazi red, very prevalent, but also the yellow kind of around her head, almost like it's a halo, trying to give her this more godlike appearance, because they're really trying to make this look perfect, okay? Trying to make her look like the ideal German woman. So kind of this twofold purpose going on right through here. One, the women want to be like this, so you want to really live up to this. And number two, the men want to be with a woman like this, okay? So they're going to try to make them really like, hey, look at this girl. You want to be a good, strong German boy, good, strong Nazi, so you got to go and marry a good, strong Nazi girl just like this. Especially if you were pure Aryans, because the Germans really, really wanted to keep a pure Aryan race. And one way to do that was through promoting marriage of Aryan men and women. Now, we're going to see another one from Japanese one towards, American one towards the Japanese. Tokyo kids say, much waste of material makes so happy. Thank you. Again, notice the teeth right through there, very pointing. The very exaggerated features. Once again, he's got the dagger covered in blood. Notice the slobber coming out of his mouth. Again, a way of trying to dehumanize this individual, make him seem like less of a human, more like an animal, because the Japanese are not viewed, by the Americans at least, are not viewed necessarily as good people. They're viewed as savages, and they have to be fought and killed. This one right here, Der Ewige Jude, this is from a German movie made in the 30s called The Eternal Jew. This was a movie that was used to portray the Jews as these horrible, smelly, gross individuals. And this was really shown in German theaters across the country to try to really increase this anti-Jewish sentiment, which ultimately is going to lead towards the execution and murder of 6 million Jews during the Holocaust. Now we see this one right here. Keep these hands off. Buy the new victory bonds today, okay? So again, this is an American one right here. What do we see? We see that blonde American woman with her baby sitting right there in the middle. Now, if you're a male, this is probably symbolism of your wife and your child. Now, you see these two creepy hands in the background, the spikes on their fingers, okay? You're going to have large claws. They're very kind of creepy and animalistic looking once again. And they're going for the woman. You've got the Nazis and the Japanese. So if you don't fight, this is going to be happening, okay? You need to buy victory bonds to make sure that the American military has the money, has the funds to fight off the Germans and fight off the Nazis and make sure that your wife and your child are taken care of. Now, we have this one right here. This is probably the most famous piece of propaganda in the history of the world. This is Rosie the Riveter. We can do it. Okay, now this is the American one, really encouraging women to join the workforce. Okay, fight and take those jobs that the men took when they left to go fighting. Join the factory, work, and help build things. Make sure you're maintaining the country back at home. and really helping the United States remain strong. We can do it. Roll up your sleeves and get to work. Next, we're going to have this one here. Swastika marks the spot. Keep them firing. This one's great. Again, I believe this is an American one. Keep those bullets firing. Keep supplying what we need to do to fight the Germans, fight the Nazis. Hitler down on the ground right there, purposely in a humiliating position. Shoot him, okay? Shoot him right where it counts, and make sure that you keep those guns firing. So buy war bonds, recycle scrap material, and make sure you're good to go. Lastly, this one right here, our carelessness, their secret weapon, prevent forest fires. Okay, this comes from the United States Department of Agriculture and Forest Service and the State Forest Service. The goal of this one is to make sure that people are being careful when they're in the wilderness. Okay, wildfires can cause immense damage, cause a lot of property damage, also pollution in the air, which makes it hard to fight. A lot of resources need to be going to fight these fires. This time period, you do not really have those resources. Every resource you are using is going into the war effort. So if you're being uncareless, if you're leaving your campfire out, it's going to possibly burn down the forest and take valuable supplies and men and money away from the war effort fighting Hitler and Hirohito and Tojo, and instead you're going to be using that to defend your own country because of your carelessness. Make sure you're being responsible and not being careless, because if you're careless, it's their secret weapon. Hitler wants you to be careless, okay? The Japanese want you to be careless. So don't do that if you love the United States of America. That is all for now. If you have any questions, comments, please put it down below. Otherwise, I will see you later. Good luck.